Casey Ashmore coming to you. Hey there, Casey Ashmore coming to you from the studio. We're talking about the Texas juvenile justice system. We're doing a bit of a deep dive on the criminal justice system and how it's different with regard to juvenile offenders. And the biggest difference is that it's geared towards rehabilitation and not punishment. So the, couple things that I hope you and your loved ones, your children, your grandchildren are never in this scenario. But that's what the purpose of these video series is, to be informative, to be informational, to provide people some sort of light at a time of darkness. And, so something to tell your children if they have an incident. Let's say there is a situation where they're operating a motor vehicle, they're an inexperienced driver, and they're doing something illegal and they get arrested for it. How and what should they do? Well, they should be respectful. Right? If there's been some sort of situation that has put you gotten the attention of law enforcement and you're under the age of 17, be respectful. The other thing is, ask to contact your parents or have your parent or guardian contacted. You need to understand anything that you sign and need to make sure that it is explained to you in a way that you do understand it. And, you can ask for an attorney, and that's probably something that, depending on the nature of the offense, that could or should happen. So that way the parent and guardian, or the parent or guardian and the attorney can work together with the juvenile offender and help them understand the nature of the charges and what the options and remedies are. Now, kind of we're at the beginning of this process. In the previous video series, I was speaking about the arrest. And shortly after the arrest, within 24 hours, so one working day, and again, if that arrest occurs on a Saturday or Sunday, it'll be one working day. So the Monday following, generally, there must be a detention hearing. Now, that detention hearing is simply to determine whether or not there's cause to keep the child detained, or alternatively, if there's a safe place to release that child. The state prosecutor's office in the county has an opportunity to present evidence to the judge, as does the criminal defendant's attorney. So by the time the juvenile has this detention hearing, there's usually an appointment of criminal defense counsel. So even if it's just for that detention hearing. So that hearing is pretty one-sided for the state of Texas. The state of Texas does not have a beyond a reasonable doubt burden to show the need or not for detention. They can just give a quick summation of the offense, the nature of the allegations, and whether or not they think that the juvenile is a ongoing danger. Or sometimes there's not that situation, that if the juvenile did something dangerous with a motor vehicle, the motor vehicle's been wrecked or taken away or seized temporarily, okay, that's over. But does the juvenile have a place to go with adequate supervision? In other words, is somebody going to be watching this child and monitoring to make sure that this kid is going to school, doing their homework, going to work if they go to work, playing sports if they're still playing sports, and otherwise staying out of trouble and being a good citizen? Or is the home situation either impossible to facilitate that kind of supervision or just can't be done? It's a dangerous home situation. So those things are all factors that the court considers at that initial detention hearing and makes a judgment call as to whether the child should be released. And sometimes the child will be held, and we'll get more into that in the next video series. And sometimes the hold is just temporary so that the juvenile probation department can do essentially a home study check to determine if there is a place for that child to go with adequate supervision. In other words, tension at home between the parents and the child. So perhaps another blood relative, grandma, grandpa, a scenario like that. I'll get more into that in the next video series. Again, we're sending out prayers of solidarity, unity, and healing for our world, which has suffered economically because of the coronavirus, and we're hoping that people can just get back to work and provide for their families, as well as the racial tension that has strained our nation. And we are praying for healing and that we figure out quickly how to live up to the rhetoric of our own revolution, that we are all created equal under God. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. More on this deep dive on the Texas juvenile justice system coming up next from the studio.